appreciate everybody that took time out to attend the webinar today. Hopefully you get something out of it. Today we're going to talk about really the differences between business-to-business e-commerce and B2C e-commerce. If you're in the B2C world, don't fret, we do also support B2C, but what we really focus on with our AnyTime Commerce product is the very specific nuances of selling in a business-to-business environment from an e-commerce storefront. And there are some very unique things that take place when you're dealing with other businesses. So I guess without further ado, let's dig right into the presentation. What I am going to do is I'm going to walk through a couple slides first, and we're going to leave some time at the end where I can show you the application. Okay. So from an overview standpoint, if we look at it, there's really there's a lot more than this, but there's 6 main reasons why B2B is a little different. In a B2C environment, you have a lot of new customers, right? So like in Amazon.com, they have new customers coming every day. You don't have a pre-established relationship with that account. In a business-to-business environment, you typically, almost exclusively, are selling to a customer that has a relationship with your organization. They have established credit terms. You know who they are. You know what they buy. So it's very different. We're going to look at some of those differences in a little more detail. Customer-specific products and pricing. Some of the B2C sites are getting there, but in a B2B environment, you know, if I log in, I've got my specific customer contract pricing already set up in my back office accounting application or ERP application, whether that's Epicor or a Sage application or QuickBooks or what have you. That's something that we bring into the application through our integration. So if I log in and I've got my own price sheet for the products that I purchase, number one, I'm limited to the products. You can choose to limit me to see the products that I buy from you as opposed to maybe other products you sell to somebody else. But I also see my specific customer pricing online, which is really nice. The other big piece is that if there's a lot of e-commerce storefronts out there. Most of them are B2C oriented, and what will happen is you'll get a file at the end of the day that includes all of your orders for the day, and then you have to worry about either manually rekeying them into your accounting or ERP system, or you may want to upload them into the system to create sales orders. We actually, with our integration, do that automatically for you. We are pulling over your inventory quantities from your ERP system. We're bringing over those customer-specific prices and a lot of other information, including statements, invoices, etc., for more of a self-service portal. Okay. It is account self-service, so we're going to go through a couple examples of this. If I'm selling through dealers or resellers, or I'm selling to big companies, they can come into my e-commerce storefront and they can place orders by themselves. We also support sales rep login, so if I'm a sales rep responsible for my customers, I can go into AnyTime Commerce and create those orders for my customers. Okay. We also support alternate shipping methods. This is something you don't see a lot in the B2C sites. Certainly we support UPS, FedEx, your common carriers, but we also support custom shipping rates. And if you happen to be shipping LTL or a truckload, certainly those are some options as well with a B2B environment. Okay, and I did talk about the sales rep access. So let's talk about what not to do. This is actually a real website. The SGC missile defense system. It's crazy accurate. I don't know what they're doing here with grilled cheese and a crazy clown. But these are obviously examples of what you don't want your website to look like. Here's another one. This is more of a B2C environment. But as you can tell, there's no rhyme or reason to this page. It looks more like a really bad catalog. Here's actually an example of somebody out there trying to sell industrial supplies via B2B. And it's a little better, right? It's a little cleaner. You got some images. You got some prices on here. But the site's not very attractive. And I know a lot of people in a B2B environment historically didn't care as much about the user interface for their sites, but that's becoming more and more important as you try to differentiate yourself from your competition. So the look and feel of your e-commerce storefront is becoming more and more important to your organization. Okay. In a B2C environment, there is a greater importance on search engine optimization or getting people looking for those consumable products to that site, right? It's why if I go in and type in, I don't know, Frisbees or something into Google, one of the first pages that's going to show up is probably going to be Amazon, right? So I'm doing search engine optimization to get traffic, people looking for those topics to my e-commerce site. That is important in a B2B environment as well, but not quite as much, especially if I have established relationships with customers in a particular industry. In a B2C environment, typically I'm taking credit cards, and I'm using some sort of like a web account or a guest account. I might have repeat customers that are coming back like an Amazon where I can have an account, but I'm not offering credit terms to those customers, right? They're going to have to pay for that when they check out. In a B2B environment, we're looking at those customer credit terms, right? They still might be a cash-only customer, which we can support, and then when they check out, they have to put in a credit card. We have credit card integration. But we can also take orders on account. So if I have a customer with net 30 terms, as long as they put in a purchase order number, I can choose whether to require that or not. I can take that order, and then in the back office, when we create the order, we'll create the invoice, and then they'll have net 30 terms or what have you to pay on that. Limited ability to customize the product catalogs when you're in a B2C environment. Again, if I'm not logged into Amazon and I go out to Amazon and I start searching around, I can look at anything. But if I'm selling particular products in a B2B environment, when I have my customers log in, I want to show them the products that are of interest to them. So we can filter product catalogs, product groups, and even feature different products based on the login of that customer, which is really nice. Sales reps. In a B2C environment, you're not going to have any concept of a sales rep logging in and placing orders. This is really nice. We have a couple customers of ours that are taking tablets out in the field with them with a wireless card, and they're actually using our e-commerce site as their product catalog. So when they're sitting down with their customers, they're able to review all of the products in the system, look at inventory quantities, look at the customer-specific pricing, and actually place orders via AnyTime Commerce while they're sitting there with their customer. Limited back office ERP integration, we talked about that a little bit. You're not going to get that with a B2C environment. And there are literally hundreds of solutions commercially available. You can go with the Amazon Web Store, Shopify, BigCommerce, One Shopping Cart, Volusion, Monster Commerce. I mean, the list goes on. There are literally a ton of companies out there doing B2C. Okay, but that's not us. Our focus is on B2B, and B2B is different. If we just look at it at a very high level, I have a couple things here. I'm not going to go through them all, but the generalities are that B2B, if we look at the goals, B2C is product-driven, B2B is relationship-driven. B2C, broad and general market. B2B, I'm going after small and targeted. I know who these people are. The buying process, B2C, I'm on product shopping. I'm out there. It's going to be a short and sweet buying process. In a B2B environment, I might have worked really, really hard to get that initial sale, and then my customers are coming back to that storefront for repeat orders or to see what else I have to offer. So in a lot of cases, it's very, very complex sales process. Pricing in a B2C, I might get some price breaks or things, but it's pretty much standard pricing. B2B, I got customer-specific pricing. Shipping's different. The users are different. The frequency, the order totals are different. And what's interesting is we've done some research into this area, and I was kind of surprised. You'd think with the amount of companies out there selling B2C that the B2C e-commerce world would be bigger, but it's actually not. If you look at it from a dollar volume standpoint, Business to business is almost double B2C as an industry. And that makes sense if you think about it, because if I go out to Amazon, what's my shopping cart total going to be? You know, typically $100, maybe $200 at most. But if I'm selling in a B2B environment, which a lot of our customers are selling more expensive products, you know, boat motors, they're selling capital equipment, very specialized products. Some of those shopping carts can get up into the tens of thousands of dollars. So your quantity or your total per order is going to be significantly higher. Okay, fulfillment's very different, right? And this is where the back office integration comes into play. Amazon, they do some of their own fulfillment, but in many cases they have third parties that are doing the fulfillment after the order's been placed. Or in a B2B environment, typically that's going to be your own warehouse. So you need to make sure that those orders get pushed back into your ERP system so that you can, you know, process that order. You can go and create the shipment, packing list, etc., and get that product out to the customer. And then we talked about the order processing. You know, either manual or it's an import, where with a B2B environment, it's more important to have those orders automatically created in your ERP system. Okay. We're not just integrating the customer pricing, we're also bringing in the customer ship tos and bill tos. In a lot of cases, we're shipping to a subsidiary or a specific location for a customer that is set up in our back office ERP system, but the bill to might be a corporate entity. The automated order creation, the real-time inventory status, and the stored shipping information. All this, the real goal is just to eliminate the duplicate data entry. Account self-service, right? If I'm a B2B customer, I can use the commerce system. I can log in. I can see, you know, statement. I can see my invoices. I can look at recent sales orders, and I can actually track my shipments. Okay, so that's something else that we have in the software. In some cases, depending on how you set up AnyTime Commerce, I can also maintain certain account information that would then go back into my ERP system, or potentially signal somebody in the back office that there's been a change made from the website, and they need to review that, because you don't want customers changing certain information online that would flow back into your accounting system. Okay. Then obviously the communication back and forth, we can facilitate a lot of that, especially in a more complex B2B sales environment. Sales reps, we talked a little bit about this. This is really nice for remote sales order entry. We're working with a customer right now that they sell through franchises. It's a coffee company, and it's sort of like a Starbucks, but not quite. Actually, I think they're better. I like their coffee better. But what they do is they are looking at AnyTime Commerce so that their franchises can log in and place orders to replenish their retail stores. Okay, so this is a really nice solution for them. They can, you know, save shopping carts. They can look at the product catalog, recent orders, and then decide what they want to buy. So if you're selling through manufacturers reps, agents, brokers, dealers, resellers, anybody outside of your organization, or you have a very large internal sales team that happens to be out in the field, AnyTime Commerce is a great way for them to be able to access your inventory catalog and to process orders, which obviously go back into your accounting system. Okay? And since it's a web-based application, you can take this on the road. As long as you have an internet connection, you're good to go. So a little bit more about AnyTime Commerce. It is optimized for B2B. We do also support B2C. You get to determine that. There's different settings. So you could have a public site that anybody could go into, review certain products, put items into a shopping cart, and then check out. At that point, they'd have to pay because they don't have credit terms. Okay. You could also set it up in a B2B environment. So if you have customers, they have a login, and when they log in, they see their items, their prices, and when they check out, they can then buy on credit terms. The integration that we have to the ERP systems, it all varies because the ERP systems themselves are different. Again, we do integrate with most of your popular ERP or accounting applications, including but not limited to Epicor, Sage, Microsoft, QuickBooks, etc. I know we're going to get one question at the end. Will be how much does the software cost? And that also varies depending on the ERP system. So if you like what you see today, I encourage you to contact your reseller or contact us, and then we'll work with your reseller to get you the pricing based on the ERP system you're using. I can tell you generally the software starts at around $12,000 to $15,000, but it does include a lot of services to get you up and running. So it's a really good fit for a lot of companies, especially those that are looking at the B2C sites and seeing that the integration just isn't there for them. Okay. Just a couple sample websites, and then we're going to get into the live presentation. This is one of our customers. They sell through dealers. They sell aftermarket products to basically motorcycle helmets and motorcycle accessories. A company's called D2M. Their big thing when they came to us is they wanted a site that their dealers, right, the ones operating these independent motorcycle dealerships, could log in and place orders online. They also use this for the remote sales force. So when the sales team is going out to visit the customers, again, they're pulling up the e-commerce site and putting orders in right there when they're sitting down with the customer. This is the coffee company that I was talking about. We're actually going to use them for the demo today. This is just a screenshot from our shopping cart. So we can see all the items that are in the shopping cart. You can see the images if you want to actually put images in. You can see the amounts. Again, the pricing is customer-based pricing based on my login. Okay. So let me go ahead and switch over. And the first thing I want to show you here at the top is that I've got a setting ID. This is how we set the specifics on what displays, whether it's the categories that I can see in the shopping cart or the overall look and feel for the system. If I copy this, go to another tab, right, same URL, same website, same infrastructure, but I do none, you can see that the site changes, and it changes pretty dramatically, right? It's a completely different site. I can change this and look at one of our other customers. These guys, they make boat engines that they sell through dealers, and you can see that their site is very different as well. Okay, but I just wanted to show you that based on the site settings, we can change things. I'm going to go back to my coffee company here. You can see that we have a main page, right? So you get to control the different elements. We have a content management system on the back end that you can determine what images you want. We have the image rotator here at the front. You can have different categories that you can drill into. So I can click on this. It'll take me to a specific category of my products. I can also then do a login, and I'm actually going to go ahead and log into this company. You don't need to remember me. Okay, so now I logged in as a customer. Go back to my home page here. Oh, am I in the right? Let me log back out and log back in here. Sometimes I get so many settings here that I forget where I'm at. Coffee site. Actually, you know what? That is a user that is not valid anymore. So let me do the admin login. That was my problem. So when I log in here, now I'm logged in as an admin. But if I log in as a sales rep, right, here's my sales rep up here, and you can determine where you want to put this. And then from the sales rep, I can determine what customers that I want to look at. It looks like I only have one assigned to the sales rep. Now I can go ahead and look at the products. And I can find these a number of different ways. One is we have some featured items that are defaulted. You get to determine what items you want to default for that sales rep or for that customer when they log in. Maybe I only want to search down and look at items that maybe are coffee related. Right, so I can do a full text search and look at those items. Or maybe I want to go from the categories here. And I've got coffee items, and I want to look at my holiday subcategory. Okay, so there's my holiday items here. And for each of these items, I can drill in a little bit. Let's look at this anniversary blend. You can have multiple images, multiple attachments in a B2B environment. You might have like a manual, like the boat motor engine company we were talking about earlier. They have, their manuals for their engines. We actually did something very special for them where their dealers can go in and enter a serial number, and it'll show them all the parts that are available from the e-commerce storefront related to that serial number. So there's a lot of things that we can do that are very, very specific to B2B. Okay, so we have attachments and images here, and then we can go ahead and add these to our cart. A couple other things that I like. One is that I can always come up here to the top and see what I have in my cart. I can also go to my cart. I can edit them, edit the quantities, I can delete them. And again, you can kind of customize. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and check out here, and since I am logged in, I can see that this customer, I can pick my shipping method. The payment side. You can see my shipment is being updated here with the integration we have to UPS, so we know what our shipping costs are. We do also integrate with Avalara. For those of you on the call today that are using Epicor, that's called Epicor Tax Connect, so it is a solution available from Epicor. If you're on the Sage side, it's called Sage Sales Tax. It's the same product from Avalara. Microsoft, there's also an integration to Avalara, same thing with QuickBooks. Avalara is kind of the de facto standard for sales tax calculations. So we are going down to really even the actual ship to location. So you are getting a very accurate sales tax calculation. View. And then next thing that I might want to do when I log in is I want to go into like an order inquiry, okay? And unfortunately, I don't have any data for this customer, but here would be where I see all of my orders that I've placed. Let me actually have some under another account, and it doesn't look like I do. But I would see my order history here. I could then drill down on that order history, and I can also see the shipment information and tracking information within this inquiry. The other thing I can do is I can drill down and look at invoices, and since I don't have any orders, I'm sure I don't have any invoices, but I can see the invoice information here as well. Okay. From an administrative standpoint, you can see that I've got a number of different things I can maintain. I can maintain users, items. I can set up pages that are even non-e-commerce pages, so I could actually use AnyTime Commerce to build out in the menu, customers, etc. Some of that information can be maintained from the CMS application. So just for example, if I want to go in and maintain users, for my application, what are my customer logins? I can do that here. Okay. And maybe I want to look at the items, and I want to look at the quantity available here. These are actually being pulled in from my system. We do also allow you to define different attributes for an item, and that's a little different than a category. I'll talk about that. So if I go to Amazon, as an example, on a B2B or a B2C side, and I'm looking for shirts or clothing, right? So the category would be clothing, maybe the subcategory is men's clothing. But there's attributes of that clothing that display down on the left-hand side. We can actually allow you to define those types of attributes. So maybe I'm looking for men's clothing as opposed to women's or children's clothing. Maybe I'm looking for white shirts as opposed to yellow, blue, or black. So in a B2B environment, I can use these attributes to help my customer filter down to find the item that they're looking for. Okay? Menu maintenance, right? I can determine what items I want to include or what pages I want to include on my menu and in what order. Okay? Site options, and there's a lot of different site options here. If I do allow guests to place orders, I can have that, well, we can even set up where a request comes in, right? So if I log in as a guest and I try to check out, an email can go out to somebody to approve that order. Customer service email you can set up. Your freight calculation can be set up, whether it's on the order level, the line level, or by item. You can do a bunch of different configurations, maximum weight per package, minimum order amounts, maximum order amounts. We have one customer that's using this where they don't want to take a web order for under $20, right? It doesn't make any sense for them to do that. So they've set a minimum order. When somebody has maybe $15 worth of product in their shopping cart, they go to check out, it's going to say, hey, you need another $5 so that you can process this order, and then they go add something else to the shopping cart. Okay. Do you want to allow them to save credit cards? Now, we do integrate with credit cards. We do not store credit cards in our system. We're using the credit card processor for that, so it's all PCI compliant and all stored in their vault, if you will. So all we're doing is storing a customer reference that goes out to the secured PCI compliant vault and pulls that information in for the order. But we are not storing any credit card information within AnyTime Commerce. Okay. And then just a bunch of other items here that we can maintain on the site options. And there's actually more. And I think I have to log in as a different user to be able to see those. But we have a list of about maybe, I think it's 2 dozen maintenance options that you as an admin can go in and set up and control. Okay?